Hello, this is the Gemini Exotica podcast, episode 2, Vanilla Dagger. In her yellow clog, she walked through mirrored puddles on the concrete barrier next to the seaside. She was walking her dog, a gray pit bull by the name of Loomis. The pit bull loved her very much, and often he would stare up at her with his delicate black marble eyes, and she would stare down at him with a radiant gaze, and Loomis would smile. The pair were walking, and it just rained, so the air was cool but damp. The ocean was a light gray, and a riptide swelled from underneath, causing small white caps to skid the surface. She reached the end of the barrier and looked out at the sea, and Loomis started sniffing the salty air. The yellow-clogged woman felt an uneasiness. Then, from out of the depths, a gigantic pink narwhal flew out of the water and onto the barrier, sending bits of concrete everywhere. She fell back and screamed out. Loomis, a natural protector and guardian, hunched in front of her and showed his teeth. He held his head low, his neck muscles flexed, and his shoulders sprawled. The narwhal opened his dragon mouth and showed his nasty mustard spike smile. Loomis sprang, but the narwhal slashed and spun his spiraled saber. Loomis, quick on his feet, managed to evade the jabs and jumped, latching his jaws onto the narwhal. The sea beast shook, but Loomis held firm. The two battled. Then the narwhal leaned back and rolled heavily into the ocean, body slamming Loomis into the surface. The sea was once again calm and the air salty. The yellow-clogged woman yelled out, but there was no answer, just a small wisping of the white caps against the surface. But then, amongst the blue, a small gray bauble emerged. A little gray, like a little frog. The gray dot, it started paddling closer to the barrier. And eventually, the little black marble eyes could be seen staring lovingly at his owner. Loomis had survived, and the yellow-clogged woman got him out of the water and took him home, where she fed him a nice serving of spaghetti and meatballs with extra tomato sauce. The end. Hey everybody, this is your host, Giuseppe Wap. This is the Gemini Exotica podcast. Thank you for listening to the short story. I thought that was a good one. So before we get into the jokes, I'd like to give you guys a little update about myself. I've been noticing through my actions that my brain is kind of getting a little bit bipolar-y, and I think it's because my moods have been very binary. And when I was thinking about it, it's like if I wake up in the morning and it's very, you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Like if I wake up in the morning and I feel bad, it's just going to be a bad day, right? There's no positivity. It's default. But on the flip side of that, if I wake up feeling a bit good, then it's a good day. And there's really nothing in between. There's nothing if I'm in that bad moment, there's nothing to uplift me. And I don't know why that is. It just kind of was happening a lot recently, and I kind of just noticed how I was really flip-flopping between moods. And I just think that, I kind of formed this bad habit of either feeling really good or really bad, depending on how I started the day. But I noticed it. I wrote it down in a little journal. I went out to the garden and put a crystal to my forehead and meditated a little bit. My sister told me that I was hogging all the crystal's energy, but forget her, she doesn't need it. But yeah, that's a little bit update about me. And if you feel the same way, just know your brain likes to play some tricks on you for whatever reason. The brain wants to trick your body into not feeling good. Why? Sometimes. Who knows? So we got to trick our brain into tricking our body to feel good. How do we do that? Still trying to figure that out. But forget that. Let's get into some comedy material. So, when I was telling my story, right, about Loomis the dog, I talked a little bit about the white-capped waves. And, I live by the seashore, so I always would see these white-capped waves, and I liked the way they looked, and I threw them in the story because I think it's a nice addition. But when I brought up white-capped waves, my brain immediately jumped to like the idea of some KKK guys surfing. You know what I mean? Like maybe it was like a beach holiday or something, and all of them are surfing, and there's one guy on the paddleboard, and like an inside joke amongst them would be like cowabunga, and they're tanning. Well, maybe they're more sunburning. I mean, I would imagine they're very pale men. So yeah, they'd be tanning, and there'd probably be a lot of sunscreen there, which the only reason why they could get onto the public beach is because they covered up all their Nazi tattoos with sunscreen. But they'd be hanging 10 or whatever, and then out of nowhere, a big great white shark comes and eats all of them. And I think it's just a wonderful story of what goes around comes around. You know what I mean? Because these guys got white pride, white power, and then a great white shark comes and eats them. And I was thinking about that. The great white shark comes, and I mean, would the pale bodies be it would be so reflective? Would the sharks not like that? And I was like, if you look at a fisherman's tackle box, he's got little shiny objects in there. So maybe these pale guys would actually create like a feeding frenzy when they were out there. But it'd have to be a pretty big shark. I would say a megalodon. And, maybe even a megadon, right? So the shark was like an Italian guy, and he'd be like, "Hey, you call me a wop? Okay. Uh, uh, hey, you call me a wop? Okay, I'll get my guy the hammerhead over here to take you in the back." And then, he would hit him with the hammer or something. I don't know, that's from Casino. But, it'd be like, Rocco, Luigi, take these guys to Sonny Jones' locker. I don't know. It's bad jokes. Okay. Actually, like a kid and his mom would be walking after the feeding frenzy, and like there would be something like white and triangular in the water, and a kid could be like, "Mom, oh my God, it's a megalodon tooth," and the mom would pick it up, and it would be one of their hoods. That could be funny. The kid would be like, "Hey, Mom, look, it's the megalodon's gold crucifix," and the mom would be like, "Oh, no, that's just the KKK's activities intersection." I think the Megadon bit has some material. Maybe just Italian men at the ocean. Maybe Italian pirates. You could call them pirattis. Like if you had pirates pronounced in Italian, it would be pirati. Pirati. Pirat face Italian-y. And, I don't know, they probably wouldn't be very good at naval warfare. If Italians were pirates, I mean, the boats. I mean, Italians. I could say this because I'm Italian. We pretty much live like pirates mainly. I mean, Adidas sweats, no shirt, barefoot, or flip flops is a standard dress I have during the summer. I have the jewelry. I got my cross on. Sweaty, smelly, like seafood. It probably wouldn't be such a bad thing. Or maybe a nice Italian parati. Just roll up on a gondola. When the moon hits your eye, like a big pizza pie, we board your ship and take all your money. But anyways, I guess a common theme I have in my stories, and what I like to do if I do have a stories is this happy ending, right? I want there to be a relief or joy with the audience, right? And we saw that with Loomis. He was able to protect his owner, and we thought he died, but he didn't. He came back. And, with the KKK guys, we're thinking, oh my God, they're on vacation, they're enjoying themselves. Wrong. Big shark comes in, wipes them all out. So I like happy endings. But, happy endings kind of has like a little bit of a dirty twist to it, right? It seems like I always wonder, why doesn't happy ending mean, going home to the children, going home to the wife? Why isn't that a happy ending? Why is a happy ending an Asian woman, finishing you off for $30? Right? Why is that the idea? What is happy about being in a dimly lit room, having a very old Asian woman, mildew up the walls, her just disappointed? When did that become happiness? And I don't want to stereotype the Asian lady here, but personally, I never walked into a Chinese food restaurant, looked behind the counter, and said, man, I would really like a hand job. I usually say, man, I really want some General Tso's, but I never wanted her to put her hand down my pants. I understand the ejaculation part, but that's very short-lived. You're telling me that the post end, that's where the story ends? There's a beginning, there's a middle, and then that's the end? There's no... the shame of walking home? Is that not part of the ending? But, I don't know. I just thought that was... Why did that one get the happy ending? If anything, it would be called like a utility ending. Like, I have to do this. I need to de-stress. I don't know what else to do. I'm tired of doing it myself. I'm going to go to the massage parlor. But I don't know. I think this is kind of just a general trend with men, which is like the mistreatment of the nut. You just spill it for stupid reasons. I mean, just think where typically people, or I should say guys, you're just misplacing your seed. You put it in whatever, the napkin, a paper towel, the cat. You go to your person's house, whatever, they got a good-looking cousin, you're like, Jesus. You go to the bathroom, you're thinking, everybody's thinking, you use the hand towel, you fold it back up, you put it on the place. That's disgusting. Other people's got to use that, but you're not thinking in the moment. How are these happy endings? Unless you're with, if you do that with someone you really like, that would be a happy ending. But how did the ejaculation, paying for ejaculation, how'd that end up being a happy ending? I don't really know. But I like happy endings. They're good. And they're not too expensive. No. I guess in fairy tales they have, like, they live happily ever after. But why does it have to be they? Why can't it just be the man not succumbing to his sexual fantasies and just living happily for the day? You know, he lived happily ever after. Well, he lived happily until tomorrow morning. Ultimately, I like happy endings, my happy endings. You know, a pit bull getting some nice spaghetti and meatballs. But the reason why I decided to go with the pit bull was because, I don't know, I had a little experience this couple days ago. And I would like to share. So, I have a pit bull. Well, I should say my mom has a pit bull. She adopted it, and you know, I was out in the side yard playing a little fetch with him, and you know, my neighbor, I don't know, he's like two houses over or whatever. He stops, and you know, rolls down his window, and I thought he was kind of being neighborly, like maybe going to invite me to a barbecue or something. But no, he goes, if your dog is off the leash, that's illegal. And I'm like, I mean, I understand, but, you know, he's very well trained. He's never had a problem leaving the yard. And I'm just playing a little fetch with him. And I'm not throwing the ball far. You know, just a little 10 feet, little blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what do you mean, you know? And he's like, you know, all the neighbors are saying how you leave your dog off the leash. And I mean, this guy's acting like I let the dog roam free through the neighborhood. And, you know, I kind of knew the law, which is if the dog's on your yard, at least where I live, if the dog's on your yard and it's got no history of leaving, then you don't have to put it on the leash. So I kind of just said that, and he's like, well, then I'm going to call the police. And I was like, call them. I mean, please do call them. I mean, I think people, when they say, I'm going to call the police, you know, they think that's like their trump card. Like that's their ace that they got hidden up their sleeve. I don't care. Call the police. What are they going to tell me? Oh, you got to put your dog on the leash. All right, fine. But you come up here and tell me, forget you. So he did call the police, and the police came, and the police told him exactly what I told him, which is the dog doesn't have to be on the leash. And it made him very mad, and it made me very happy. Because, I don't know, those kinds of things are satisfying some kind of way. Like, I mean, if you think about it, first of all, the guy is like taking data on, like he's kind of walking by and seeing that maybe allow the dog to kind of walk around the yard, or the dog was out on the back porch or whatever. And like just looking into my yard now that I think about it, which is very weird, and you know, comes over and says, you know, the neighbors, it's like, oh, so you're coming and speaking on behalf of the neighbors now? It's like, nobody has an issue, you have an issue. Stop trying to put, you know, your personal opinions onto other people because you're too afraid to just claim them for yourself. And, you know, what's funny is actually, I saw him, I was out on the front porch with my pit bull, and I was just sitting reading, and I had my pit bull sitting next to me. And the guy and his wife were kind of walking their dog, and the wife kind of like made a comment to the guy, and in my mind I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. I see. This guy's kind of whipped. The wife told him to go say something, and he said, yeah, okay. And he came over here, or to my place, to tell me, and he completely crumbled. And I kind of feel bad for him now, because he looked like a moron, because the police had to go tell him to shut up, and meanwhile his wife is the one that's wrong. But, you know, since that day, the pit bull walks around the yard fine. We play fetch, no big deals. Other dogs come up to say hello. He says hello to the neighbors. Everybody's fine. Everybody's cool. And I notice, actually, that when I walk by his yard, his dog gets a little insane. And I'm not a petty person. I don't really like these neighborhood politics. But I'm just like, oh, the irony. The great white shark. Oh, the irony. And thinking back on it, if he kind of just came up to me and said, you know, hey, I think, you like to play fetch with your dog, that's fine, but I think you should keep him on the leash. I probably would have been like, you know what, alright, okay, if that's what would make you comfortable, I'll do that. But the fact that he kind of just rolled down his window and talked down to me and like yelled out at me and then, threatened to call the police, it just seemed very disrespectful, and it made me want to put him under the shed. You know what I mean? And I want to be clear. I don't know if I made this clear, but I don't like walk around the neighborhood with the dog off the leash. He's just in the yard off the leash, and I'm outside watching him, and he really is just a good dog. He listens and comes and sits and stays, and I don't know, it just made me so mad that this guy just came over and decided to start yelling at me. I don't know. And I get that he didn't know the dog and he doesn't know it's like a well-behaved dog. But he didn't have to come over and roll down the window and start yelling. He could have walked over. He could have met the dog. He could have met me. He could have gave his opinion. I don't know. This guy did like a suburban drive-by where you drive up, roll down the window, and threaten to call the police on somebody. But anyways. So I currently have two animals. The one is the pit bull, and the other is a bearded dragon. And the bearded dragon kind of looks like my grandma when she's napping. And it's like always, it really does look high all the time. Like as if it smokes something called bearded dragon. I don't know, it just kind of sometimes give you this side eye. And it's just a strange animal. Like I've never seen it move once. And I don't know, I feel like the bearded dragon moving is like somebody changing. Nobody can be in the room when it does it, and it waits for you to leave and you come back. Like I'll leave, I'll come back, and the thing will be across this cage, but I've never actually witnessed it move before. But both of them are precious angels. I really didn't think I liked the pit bull. I didn't think he was cute when we got him. I think he's adorable now. I thought the bearded dragon was just straight up one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Now I let it sit on my shoulder while I do work or just hang out or whatever. But so a little bit of an idea that I had recently was so I wanted to do I guess this is an idea, and I'm sure we all know the Magic School Bus cartoon. And, they shrink down and they go somewhere or whatever. So I wanted to do, like, a Magic School Bus ride to a young boy's conscience, right? And, if the school bus was actually, like, for a Catholic school, that might be a little bit awkward, seeing the priest next. But I wanted to do it to a young boy's conscience, because, I don't know, I feel like that could be a bit funny, as you kind of go in there, and maybe this boy's like kind of quiet or something, and everyone's like, why is he so quiet? Let's find out. And then they just see him getting yelled at by like his dad for missing a pop fly, or, just the standard stuff, not doing well in school, and then getting yelled at by his parents And it's like, well, how do I do that? And then the parents are just like, I don't know, just get better grades. It's like, what, is there a means to get better grades? No, just do it. Is there a means to catch a fly ball? Should I have any kind of technique? No, just do it, right? And then when you say just do it, the kid registers as, well, if I should just be able to do it, and if I can't, then that means I'm inferior. I'm an inferior young boy, and that means I suck and I'm stupid and I'm bad. And all the children would see it. It would just be a very somber episode. Typically it's supposed to be fun, but I don't know. That's a bit of a weird idea, and it might be a bit of a stretch, but I like thinking of weird things like that. And maybe, they could take the magic school bus and apply a little bit of that magic to fixing the boy's subconscious or whatever. And it would end on a positive note. It just wouldn't be, the magic school bus crashes into the id in the boy's subconscious. No, they fix it and they head out, and the boy's happy and everybody's happy. We're going on this happy ending theme here. But I don't know. I was thinking about there was a couple things that I was thinking about that I read, and it was like, like young people, when they experience some kind of trauma, they forget it. Right? Like, it seems like their brain doesn't even register it as a memory. They just kind of drop it out, and it still lives in them, but they just don't remember it. So, I mean, like, is dementia even a thing for old people? Children just kind of have, like, this emotional dementia where they have these awful memories that they don't remember. And, I mean, this psychology is it's just so weird how the brain works. And I mean, think about the word psychological, but there's nothing logical about the brain. There's just, I don't even know. It's not like, blue and, my colors, blue and red mixed together make purple. That's not how that's logic, but that's not how the brain works. It's like blue and red make light blue with splatters of blood in it. And it's like, wait, hold on, time out. That's not the way it's supposed to work. So I just thought it was fun. Like, psychological, it's supposed to be clear cut, and yet it's not. It should be called like psycho-emotional or something. Like, we have no idea how it's going to pan out. It could be crazy. Some days you might wake up feeling awful. Some days you might wake up feeling happy. Why is that? We don't know. Do you know? No. Well, I guess that's too bad. That sucks for you. You try meditating? Yes. And that doesn't work? Well, sometimes it does. Sometimes, maybe try taking some different meds. I don't know. I kind of want to keep it natural. But these big pharma, they do have a very, very good marketing campaign. The white girls at college are marketing the big pharma drugs exceptionally. They're doing such a good job at it. They really should get paid some kind of amazing bonus. But let's see. So what do we got? Okay, next subject. Oh, yes. I kind of wrote this down. But, so like my psychological state is that I always feel very happy in nature, right? Whenever I go out into the woods or go out into the garden, anything natural, I enjoy so much more than being inside. And I know that's kind of like a common thing, but not so much for everybody. I like plants, I like animals, I like clouds, anything nature. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like maybe in a past life I was a mountain man of some kind, and I would ride a horse and I would be friends with the tribes people, and I would do good things like hunting and fishing and helping the frontiers people out in the dead of winter. And I was like, that seems like a romantic or a mountain man is a very tough job. Like that's like 1% of it. So I had a very romantic idea of what a mountain man was. So like I would be like a romantic mountain man, I guess. So what would a romantic mountain man do? I'd like, well, certainly I would start by decorating the sod home just how she liked it. Some little prairie flowers and grasses and stuff. And I would, scatter on the floor hides and buffalo hearts and scalps, and instead of roses. Because she's a frontier's woman. She's tough. She doesn't want roses. She needs things to make winter clothing and to make reserves for when it's negative 40 degrees out. And then I'll give her, like a homemade little bone doll. A doll made out of bones, and she'll smile at me with yellow tobacco-stained teeth because there's no toothpaste. And I'll smile at her with yellow-stained tobacco teeth, and then we'll make out because she'd be so thankful. And I'm a dirty, horny mountain man. That's what we do. After spending weeks up in the hills trapping. I mean, what do you think? I'm not thinking of getting back to the lowlands to find my frontier's woman who, of course, my fetish as a mountain man is the ability that she just is a frontier's woman and she's surviving. Like, that's the hottest thing to me, is the fact that she's willing and able to club a baby deer over the head, hang it up, skin it, make some new shoes out of the hide, and have dinner for us, for 3 weeks. I don't know how much meat's on a baby deer, but I feel like 3 weeks is good. I've seen them, not newborn baby. Newborn baby deer is like, 2 days maybe. I'm talking like, a baby deer, maybe 6 months. That's 3 weeks of food, I think. The spots aren't gone on the baby deer yet. That's about 3 weeks of food. And then a nice romantic frontier evening would be, me and her squatting around a fire. She's got one leg, I got the other. And she just looks so beautiful eating the baby deer leg with her hands. And, no hygiene whatsoever. Just dirty fingernails from digging in the dirt all day, planting and looking for gold or whatever. And, I just want to know what is beneath those buckskin clothes. And I just say, would you like to see the inside of my sod hut? And she's like, I think I could ask you the same question. And we simultaneously just both drop our deer legs and run to the door. And we bust in through the door, because it's only like one layer of straw, and then we're in the bedroom, which, is also in the main room. It's just a one-room sod hut. But in a way, that's kind of romantic, right? Just a single shelter in the middle of nowhere. a big bear rug, nothing to wake up and do. You just roll around on the rug all day. You get a nice little beaver tail paddle. Maybe play around with the traps a little bit. Get a little freaky. Who knows what you will come up with out in the middle of nowhere, and all you have is your partner with you. You just run through the plains naked. Jesus, that sounds pretty fun. But anyways, this is a good segue actually into my next topic, which is, I would call this joke Mountain Man Hebrew. And I'm sure you all know what a mountain man is, and I'm sure you all know what a Hebrew is. But so I guess I got the inspiration for this joke when I was walking to the train, and I saw a Jewish guy, like an Orthodox Jewish guy, and he kind of had this hat on, and it had like a fur disc. It was a fur disc hat. I don't know what it's called, but I was really, the fur and the hat itself, it was such like a different hat compared to, I guess, your standard hat. And I was looking at it, I was like, that's actually kind of cool. It's made out of fur, and I'm like, that's a very rugged man's hat, is a fur hat. And, I don't know what happened to fur stuff. I guess PETA, but fur things is it's a very cool look. And if you meet up with a hunter guy and he's like, yeah, I got these furs that I got during the last hunting season. Why is that a big deal to have a fur thing? But anyways, so I saw this Jewish guy, and he was just doing his Jewish stuff. He was eating a bagel, waiting for the train. And he had this nice disc hat on, and I was like, that's a very rugged fur hat. It kind of reminded me of a frontiersman hat. What a frontiersman would wear, and I was like, that's kind of like a Jewish cowboy hat in a way. And then my brain started going into these odd places, and I was like, a Jewish cowboy, a Jewish mountain man, and I was just like, well, if it was a Jewish mountain man, of course his horse's name would be Mercedes, and he had the beard, and his six-shooter would be like the Star of David, or maybe that's just his sheriff badge, because he would have to be a lawman, a bounty hunter at least. And I just kind of imagine like this, if a Jewish guy were to be a mountain man, he would be in the hills, and just like every mountain man, he would be trapping. And just see him coming down to the general store with skins piled up on his horse, and the guy would be like, all right, what you got? And he's like, I got these. And the store manager would be like, what is this, a mouse skin? And the Jewish guy would be like, no, it's a shaft. And the store guy would say, what is that, a type of bat that lives in the mines? It's like, well, I guess you could call it that. And the store manager would be like, what kind of animals are these? What is this? And the Jewish guy would be like, it doesn't come from animals. These are circumcisions. These are my skins. And he'd be like, oh, that's disgusting. What are you doing bringing these here? And that would be the exchange. And that's kind of the Hebrew mountain man bit that I'm working on. But overall, I don't know. I feel like I really like the mountain man vibe. I'm very envious of just people who are able to live in the woods and be a part of the woods, and I don't know, not be connected to society at all. And I got a little bit of a taste of that. And this is a piece of my life is that this past summer I kind of just drove out west, and I drove out to places like Wyoming and Montana, and I would just find, these random places in the middle of nowhere on Google Maps, and I would just drive to these places, and I would, stock up on canned tuna and fried chicken and peanut butter, and I would just be out there for like weeks, and I just slept in my car. I didn't shower. I just hiked around and I went fishing, and I mean that's all I did. And it was so amazing to just be away from everything. No phone connection. Nobody can contact you. You weren't thinking about anything. No stock market. No earnings. No problems. Whatever was going on in the news didn't matter. And I don't know. It was so freeing that I just couldn't help but think, how does not everybody do this? Well, I mean, I understand how not. I mean, sometimes I even myself the luxury of like air conditioning and TV, YouTube. I mean, some of it's just too good to be true. But the idea of being out there, completely free, by the way, just, and when I say free, I mean nobody is telling you what to do. You have no expectations of yourself or from other people. There's no, of course, there's laws, right? But in reality, if you could walk around naked through the woods, nobody's gonna catch. There's nobody there, right? And I don't know. That just felt you. I almost felt like a ghost, like a spirit, because there's nobody could tell me to do anything. I didn't have to do anything. There was nobody around. I could yell out into the forest and not feel embarrassed. It was just such a freeing feeling, and that's a really big mountain man vibe. That I wish I could live out in my day to day. Sometimes I'll be sitting at my desk working, going through Excel and just, oh my God, presentations, and I'm just thinking like there is a mountain range 2 days away. It's a 2 day drive, mountain range, and I could just do a simple job there, have a nice little condo, and I could just be there. You're not an official mountain man, but you're there. Like you are in the nature. You are in the place you want to be. And I'm just like sitting here in this East Coast city, just like, what? What am I doing here? This is not the idea. This is not the mountain man vibe I want to live. And sometimes I think that it's an irrational thought, like plain and simple, like, well, you're just gonna go live in the woods, or you just could drop everything and go. And that's the thing is like to believe that it's an irrational thought. It's just a binding feeling. It's not that freedom that I had is now gone because I have expectations, rational or irrational. I have those expectations for myself. People expect stuff out of me. My, it's like I have to do things, and people are like, you don't have to do anything. Yeah, you kind of do. Like when you just feel like you have to do it, and that could be like a social construct or like a big psychological play. That could be part of the conscious discovered by the magic school bus, is like the feeling that you have to do something even though you don't want to do it. And it's like just you think like all I want to do is kind of join that Hebrew mountain man and get some skins. Maybe not skins with him, but we could meet up at the general store once a season or whatever. And he would tell me where his skinning store is. But okay. But I think about it and it seems irrational, but then I'm like, it's really not. And then I'm like, maybe it is. And then I go, maybe it's not. And it's in a constant battle in my brain. And I have not yet come to a clear decision yet. But I'm thinking about it. I really am. Like I said, mainly because I just have that mountain man vibe. I feel great in nature. And I don't know. When you wake up to a mountaintop sunrise, and when you go to sleep to a mountaintop sunset, it really makes you question the significance of everything else. It really does. Because you're like, no company could touch this feeling right now. No startup, no investment, no amount of money could even touch this feeling right now. And it's like you could realistically speaking, if you lived in that area, you could experience something like that every single day if you wanted to. And I think I want to. I want to live in my car and live in the mountains. Now that's a bit irrational. But moving there, it seems pretty rational. But, thinking back about my trip and everything, there's some pretty funny stories. And I'll probably tell them at some point here. And I think that's about it for all my material that I wanted to try. It was definitely a bit of a weird one, I'm not going to lie. The Mountain Man Hebrew, let's look. We got Hebrews, we got KKKs, we got magic school bus rides to the subconscious, a rant about owning pit bulls, and mountain man and frontier woman lovemaking. This was an odd one. Vanilla Dagger, I would say the weirdest episode so far out of only 2 episodes. Not a lot of competition, but this one got a little bit of weird, like I said, I kind of had that weird mindset that I've been getting into, but maybe, I don't know, weird's good. I think I brought that up last time. Weird is definitely good sometimes. Listen, sleeping in your car, not bathing, growing out an afro and a unibrow, and literally turning into a Sasquatch is a bit weird, but I experienced such an amazing thing. Sometimes you gotta get a little weird. And I feel like that's a good closing. So, this is the Gemini Exotica podcast. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.